everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Goldstone Technologies Analytics Tech Video Podcast. I am Anushka Mukherjee, hosting this right from the headquarters of GTL at Hyderabad. In continuation to our ongoing series, Data and Beyond, and the latest trends in the analytics space, we bring to you third episode of Season 1 to talk about data science and AI-powered analytics and how companies across multiple verticals can leverage this to gain better insights and analysis from their data. But before that, for our first-time viewers, let me introduce Goldstone Technologies Limited or GTL. We're a full-stack data analytics, BI, and IT services consulting company. Our offering encompasses a host of strategic services to help with data planning, reducing costs, accelerating BI adoption, enabling our clients to greatly reduce their time to value. Our guest today is joining us from one of the world's largest self-service analytics and data science platforms. He is joining us today to share his knowledge on the advantages of advanced analytics and how the influence of artificial intelligence on data analytics can revolutionize the BI space going forward. So without further ado, let me introduce our guest, Paul Baptist. With more than 20 years of experience in technology, he has worked with companies, large and small, across the globe and helped them transform their business and help them use data to serve their customers better, gaining deeper insights, make predictions, or even generate recommendations. AI-powered analytics makes use of advanced analytics with that of AI-driven automation to help businesses take decisions faster and easier. Hi Paul, how are you doing today?
Very good, thanks.
So where are you talking to us today from?
Irvine in California at our Alteryx headquarters.
Great. So what we can do is, I'll just set the context a little here. It has become a universal truth that modern businesses are awash with data. They're relying on analytics that is powered by artificial intelligence as a must-have when it comes to digital transformation. Any data-driven company that needs to manage its operations with data as a salient light can attest to this. So, having worked with multiple companies and witnessing their data analytics journey, can you share some examples of companies who have leveraged data science and the value that it added to their business?
Absolutely. And you're absolutely right. You know, the whole world is awash with data. And every second of every day on every device that we have, we are generating more and more data. And as consumers, let's start with us being consumers, you and I, we have expectations that the companies that collect this data will use them to be able to provide services and products to us in a better way. So there lies the challenge. So if I'm an organization and I have got all this data, how do I use it in order to service my customers better, to run my business more efficiently, and ultimately to be able to be good stewards of the company that I work for? So there are many, many companies that I've seen throughout my time in the pre-sales organization that have really leveraged data in a very, very clever way. Let me give you, I've got so many stories. I'm going to give you a couple. All right. One of my favorite stories, of course, and I thought, what story could I tell to all of your listeners that everyone would get really excited about? So I thought, let me tell you the McLaren story. Do you know about McLaren?
Of course. I'm a big fan myself.
Exactly. Everyone does. It's exciting. It's global. And the key thing about the McLaren story is that vehicle, that car, has over 300 telemetric sensors on it. For every single race, it generates over 100,000 data points, 1.5 terabytes of data. Wow. So how do they use this data in order to, one, make real-time decisions of how to run the race? Incredible, one. But also, after the race is run, how can they use that data to improve the performance of the car? And then lastly, how do they use the consumption of the equipment on the car to be able to manage their entire supply chain? And McLaren does all of that using analytics and artificial intelligence. And specifically, because I'm very proud of it, they use Alteryx to do that as well.
So is there any ROI that they're generating? I'm sure it's huge because they are not only using it in one particular domain, but there are multiple domains that they're using it with. So that's pretty exciting. I did not know that they were using it as well.
Yeah. So the key thing about, I'll tell you a different story around ROI because, for an organization like McLaren, their ROI, of course, is the number of races won, probably. But another organization that we can talk about that has incredible ROI would be one of our Fortune 500 banks in Asia Pacific. Right, incredible organization. They in fact started off with actually a very, very small number of users. The story actually goes that the head of analytics actually approached one of his team, his managers, and said, hey, I would like you to go and create an Excel factory. Here's 13 headcount. Go and hire people, create an Excel factory for me. In the meantime, this manager very astutely went and looked at all kinds of tools out there. And he happened to look at a tool like Alteryx. Within a couple of hours, he actually went back to his manager and said, it's okay, I don't need the headcount. Just get me some of these licenses so I can actually start to automate my data prep and data analytics. So an incredible story of how ROI can be realized in so many ways. So this little I call them little, they're actually a very, very big bank. This organization started in a small way, and now they've seen so much return on their investment that they are in fact running their own internal enablement. There's nothing to do with Alteryx at all. We help provide some of the training material, but that's about it. They find so much value in using a data analytics tool like Alteryx to be able to deliver capability across the entire bank.
Okay, so that's about a company that is already using data science, but I'm sure there are many more companies who kind of shy away from data science as it requires deep understanding of algorithms and coding, or they might even think that they need to hire more people for this and a lot of investment would be required in terms of, say, time, money, or expertise. And they also do not know how to utilize this knowledge to take better decisions and to monetize their data. As a result, they're failing to get most out of their growing information resources. So, are there any tools in the market which could make it easier for such companies to adopt data science and realize its value?
Yeah, of course, there are many. Now, I want to speak holistically rather than representing the company I work for. There are lots and lots of tools out there, and depending on the maturity of the organization, so of your listeners, one of the things I'd encourage them to do is to actually go and take our analytics maturity assessment. It's on the Alteryx website. It's free for everyone. You can just go and answer a few questions, and it helps you understand where in the analytics maturity curve you actually sit. Now, whilst I think all of us would love that the scale goes from 1 to 5, right? 1 meaning like, I have a lot of data, but I don't really know what to do with it. And 5, of course, is like we live, breathe it, we use it, it helps drive our business decisions. Now, obviously, all of us would love to think we sit in number 5, but unfortunately, the average that we see actually sit at about 2.2. So the maturity in our market is actually quite immature. So, as an organization, your listeners, I would encourage you go and take maturity assessment, and there are recommendations around what you can do to move up the curve to be able to drive your business using the data that you've collected. Now, coming back to this, what tools are there? Well, there are so many different tools, and when we think about analytics, we tend to think about visualization. Really, really pretty charts and reports. But pretty charts and reports don't necessarily drive decision making. In fact, what's more important are the insights that we draw from our data. And so there are, tools in the marketplace that allow you to drive automatic insights that surface insights that are defined by the data you have in near real time, so that you can make the right business decisions. In fact, by the year 2026, which is not that long, not that far away. In fact, it's about 3 and a little bit years away. We will have 226 zettabytes of data around the world. That is more data than anybody knows what to do with. So it is within our business imperative to be able to make use of this data, to be able to drive these insights. In fact, what we find is that most businesses, and we found that in this data, about 30% of businesses need to make decisions in real time in order for the data to be effective. So there are tools out there that will help you. Alteryx is one of them. You know, we can actually help you prepare the data, bring it from different sources, deliver it in a seamless way so that you can then draw insights, whether you are using a group of Excel sheets, whether you're using Salesforce, whether you're using Databricks or data lakes like Snowflake, that's entirely within your remit. And you're able, the key thing is no matter what you use, the most important part is to try to determine what business outcomes you're trying to deliver, and then to be able to find the right tool to help you deliver it.
I think AI with its capabilities of, predictive modeling and then, generating recommendations, it's going to be very helpful. And I think companies would now have a fair idea about when and how to adopt advanced analytics. As a solution engineer, what do you feel are the best practices a company must follow for the adoption of data science? Also, what do you think would be the most significant advantages of data science and AI clubbed together?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you a little bit of a story, and then I'll dive into some of the best practices. Now, there's an organization called the National Children's Cancer Society, right? So it's a charitable organization, and it's doing some really good work. It's trying to raise funds in order to support, unfortunately, children with cancer, and also to support cancer research to be able to hopefully find a cure to cancer, right? So between you and me, obviously, wonderful organization. Yes, the downside is that because over the years, they're an organization that's been around for 30 years. And over the years, you and I, we've lived through a couple of global financial crises. There's these days there's inflation happening and so on. And so there's a little bit of, we're all a little bit scared. And what happens when individuals are scared? Charitable organizations tend to find that their funding disappears, right? Because we're worried we might hold on to our money a little bit more. Very understandable. So what does this charity do? Well, the charity actually has found that in order to get more funding, more donors, it was beginning to cost a lot more. And of course, most charitable organizations, they don't want to spend the money they get on unnecessary things, right? They want to put it into the research. So they use analytics, and they use artificial intelligence to not just try to identify the right donors to go to, the ones who are capable of supporting them, have the propensity to be able to support them. And then they would approach them so that whichever donors they approach, there was a higher likelihood that they would get some funding out of it. In fact, it decreased the cost of acquisition of a new donor by 24%. Now, between you and I, 24% sounds awesome. We'll be like, wow, that's so cool. But the more important statistic is the fact that in that 24% saving that they have, the most important part of that story is the fact that the additional savings went to the people who needed it, right? The children who weren't well, and the researchers who needed the funding to be able to do more research. So it's an incredible story. So when you're thinking about best practice, the key number one thing is identify what problem you're trying to solve. In this case, they were trying to be able to get more donors for cheaper, right? Less cost. So first things first, identify the challenge you're trying to solve. Next, try to identify what data points you might need in order to solve that. And then go and find where all those data points are, because they will be all over the place. We know that. And then after that, you use the right data preparation tool to bring them all together, to make sure the data is in the right format. And then you add artificial intelligence to identify, to apply specific modeling to find propensity for action, as an example, in this case, and then you automate it so that you don't need a human being to do it. So very, very simple, find the business outcome that the use case that you're trying to solve for, what business outcome you're trying to get, find where the data is, apply the right tool, prepare the data, apply artificial intelligence where necessary, automate, and then watch it happen.
So I'm sure there are various tools available for, data warehousing needs or maybe Excel, but I'll just talk a little bit about the Alteryx Product Suite here. So it looks like Alteryx Product Suite can help our customers with all data-related challenges. So right from giving users the ability to automate end-to-end analytics to being able to generate insights automatically from data using Auto Insights, or Alteryx is versatile in nature. In addition, I feel the ability of Alteryx Intelligence Suite to automatically build ML pipelines with little or no know-how of data science is an exceptional feature. So this was really insightful. Thanks for your time, and thank you from GTL and all our viewers for your insights that you have provided us along with your suggestions and recommendations. Thank
No
you.
problems at all.
Thank you for tuning into this episode. If you would like to know more about our service offerings, please don't forget to log on to www.goldstonetech.com, and we would love to add value to your organization through our service offerings. Until the next time, this is Anushka Mukherjee signing off. And please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.